This is how to make a narcissist regret every cruel thing they've done to you in their lifetime. If you've ever had to deal with a narcissist, you know how exhausting and confusing it can be. These people are often clever, observant, and skilled at manipulating emotions, making it feel like you're constantly walking on eggshells. They can twist reality, control situations, and force others to act in ways that serve only their own interests. But here's the truth. Their power over you only exists as long as you allow it. The moment you step away, focus on your own life, and stop reacting to their tactics, their hold begins to weaken and your freedom begins to grow. Healing from a narcissist requires strategy, patience, and self-awareness. It isn't about confronting them directly or seeking revenge, which usually only fuels their need for control. Instead, it is about taking deliberate steps to reclaim your life and your peace of mind. Every action you take should move you toward growth, happiness, and independence, while simultaneously removing their ability to manipulate you. This approach demands emotional discipline, clarity, and consistent effort. If you can practice restraint and focus on yourself rather than their games, you'll soon notice a shift. Their attempts to hurt you lose their effect, and your life begins to feel lighter, freer, and more meaningful than it has in years. To make a narcissist truly regret what they've done, the first step is to live your best life without them. Surround yourself with people who genuinely care about you, who see your value, and who encourage your growth and happiness. Allow yourself to go on adventures, pursue passions, and indulge in activities that bring you joy. Let go of guilt, shame, or lingering doubts that they may have planted in your mind. Accept that you deserve far more than they could ever provide. Happiness, fulfillment, freedom, and peace. When a narcissist sees that you are thriving, content, and independent, it hits them harder than any argument or confrontation ever could. Another powerful way to make them regret their actions is to become a better version of yourself than they ever were. Narcissists often disguise selfishness as charm, kindness, or generosity, but their true nature is rooted in manipulation, cruelty, and self-interest. Rise above their behavior by cultivating genuine kindness, empathy, and understanding toward others. Work on building inner strength, emotional resilience, and self-awareness. Let your actions reflect integrity, compassion, and wisdom, qualities they often lack. By showing the world your true character and refusing to engage in their toxic games, you create a stark contrast to their behavior. Their envy and regret grow silently as they watch someone they tried to control flourish and inspire. Focus on your personal growth in ways that highlight their limitations. Pursue new skills, knowledge, and experiences that broaden your perspective and strengthen your confidence. Take care of your mental, emotional, and physical health, and don't apologize for prioritizing yourself. Travel to new places, embrace challenges, and nurture meaningful relationships that are built on mutual respect. A narcissist thrives on dependency and insecurity, so by creating a life that is rich, vibrant, and self-sufficient, you unintentionally make them confront their failures and shortcomings. The more you thrive without them, the more their past manipulations and cruelty weigh heavily on them, and the greater the satisfaction you will quietly feel in your own empowerment. By constantly showing these traits, you slowly strip away the power they crave and expose how insignificant they truly are in your life. You don't need to be perfect to do this, because perfection was never the goal. What matters is recognizing how the experience has sharpened you, made you wiser, and strengthened your emotional intelligence. Every manipulation you survived taught you something about boundaries, self-respect, and discernment. Instead of focusing on what went wrong, focus on how much stronger you've become because of it. That growth is something a narcissist can never fully achieve. Watching you evolve beyond their influence forces them to confront the reality that they failed to break you, and that realization alone can be deeply unsettling for them. Another crucial step is learning to stand up for yourself without fear or hesitation. Standing your ground is one of the most effective ways to make a narcissist regret their behavior because it directly challenges their need for control. Narcissists thrive on dominance and submission, so when you refuse to play the role they assigned you, it disrupts their entire sense of power. Be mindful of how they try to twist situations, making you appear flawed while casting themselves as the victim. Stay alert, trust your instincts, and don't fall into their web of lies. If someone repeatedly belittles you or mocks you, that's your signal to draw a firm line and demand better treatment. You should never tolerate disrespect simply because someone else refuses to take responsibility for their behavior. If a person treats you poorly, dismisses your feelings, or constantly undermines your confidence, they do not deserve your loyalty or presence. Respect and kindness are not optional in healthy relationships. They are requirements. Walking away or setting boundaries doesn't make you weak. It makes you self-aware. When you stop accepting mistreatment, the narcissist is forced to face the consequences of their actions. They may try to guilt you, manipulate you, or provoke a reaction, but staying firm sends a powerful message. It shows that you value yourself enough to refuse what no longer serves you. Showing confidence and independence is another powerful way to make a narcissist regret what they've done. When you truly believe in yourself and your abilities, it becomes nearly impossible for someone else to shake your sense of worth. Confidence doesn't mean arrogance. It means knowing who you are and standing by it. No matter how much they criticize or attempt to diminish you, their words fail to reach your core. Their attempts to control or belittle you collapse on their own, leaving them frustrated and exposed. This quiet strength forces them to reflect on the damage they caused, especially when they realize you no longer need their validation to feel whole. Becoming self-sufficient is equally important in this process. Narcissists often manipulate others into believing they are essential to their happiness or success, using deception and emotional dependence. But the truth is, you are already complete on your own. You are capable of finding fulfillment, joy, and meaning without relying on anyone else's approval. When you stop seeking validation from outside sources, especially from someone who once hurt you, you take back your autonomy. This independence cuts off their supply of control and attention. Watching you thrive without them forces them to face the reality that you were never dependent on them. You simply outgrew them. Taking care of yourself is another vital step in reclaiming your power. After enduring lies, betrayal, and manipulation, it's natural to feel anger, sadness, or confusion. Those emotions are valid, but they should not be allowed to define your future. Self-care becomes a quiet but powerful act of defiance. By choosing rest, healing, and self-compassion, you prove that their actions did not destroy you. Maintaining a positive outlook can be difficult after emotional harm, but it is possible with patience and intention. Every time you choose yourself, you reinforce the truth that you deserve peace, and that realization alone can weigh heavily on someone who tried to take it from you. Taking care of yourself is one of the most important things you can do after dealing with a narcissist, because self-care is where real power is rebuilt. This means nourishing your body with healthy food, moving it regularly, and allowing yourself proper rest instead of running on exhaustion. It also means giving yourself permission to enjoy calming experiences, whether that's a long walk in nature, quiet moments alone, or small acts of kindness toward yourself. Surround yourself with people who genuinely care about you and want to protect your well-being. When you invest in your physical and mental health, you become harder to manipulate. By putting your needs first, you step out of their control and begin reclaiming your power. Another essential approach is to stop apologizing to a narcissist altogether. Narcissists are experts at twisting situations until you believe you're the one at fault, even when you've done nothing wrong. If you've ever tried to apologize, you've likely seen how quickly they distort your words and use them to undermine your self-worth. Remember, they are not the victims in this story. They are the ones who caused harm and should be held accountable for it. Refusing to apologize or over-explain when you're being blamed protects your dignity. When you apologize for imagined faults or tolerate abuse in silence, you surrender control over your own life and hand it back to them. Learning to live with silence and acting as if they no longer exist is another powerful step. Ignoring a narcissist completely is one of the most effective ways to make them feel the weight of their actions. If being around them drains you, distance yourself without guilt. Focus on caring for your own needs and strengthening relationships with friends and family who genuinely support you. Spend time with people who uplift and inspire you, and avoid those who thrive on negativity. When a narcissist realizes they no longer occupy your thoughts or emotions, it forces them to confront their mistakes. The loneliness that follows can be deeply unsettling and may push them to seek forgiveness far sooner than expected. Maintaining mental strength is crucial if you want a narcissist to truly regret their behavior. Even when their actions trigger anger or sadness, staying emotionally grounded protects you. Narcissists feed on visible weakness because it gives them an excuse to continue their cruelty. Instead of reacting, channel your energy into activities that bring you joy and help you grow as a person. Focus on your goals, passions, and inner healing. Narcissists crave control and dominance, but you don't have to give them that satisfaction. By redirecting your attention away from their influence and toward building a meaningful life, you deny them the power they desperately seek. Another important rule is to stop praising or complimenting them altogether. Flattery feeds a narcissist's ego and reinforces their belief that their behavior is justified. When you withdraw admiration and validation, their flaws and insecurities become impossible for them to ignore. Narcissists rely heavily on external praise to maintain their inflated self-image, so removing that supply can be deeply uncomfortable for them. This doesn't require confrontation or criticism. It simply means no longer rewarding harmful behavior with attention. When they no longer receive admiration from you, they are forced to face their own shortcomings. That quiet absence of praise can speak louder than any argument ever could. To make them feel bad about what they did, stop giving them what they crave the most: admiration and validation. Do not offer compliments that inflate their ego or make them feel superior. Instead, remain grounded in truth and calmly acknowledge their mistakes and unhealthy patterns when necessary. This honest reflection can be deeply unsettling for a narcissist because it exposes the insecurities they work so hard to hide. When you refuse to reinforce their false self-image, it becomes uncomfortable for them to remain around you. If they attempt to manipulate or confuse you, stay firm in your decisions. Free yourself from their control by refusing to let them rewrite how you see yourself or diminish your worth. Another powerful step is refusing to give in to their demands or expectations. Narcissists thrive on pressure and persistence, constantly pushing others to bend to their will. When they sense resistance, they often intensify their efforts, hoping you'll eventually give up. This is where standing tall matters most. Hold your ground without anger or drama, and do not allow anyone to force you into choices that don't align with your values. If they continue asking for something you cannot or do not want to give, respond politely and clearly, then stop engaging. Strength lies in consistency. When they see they can no longer move you, their sense of control begins to collapse. Setting and maintaining healthy boundaries is not selfish. It is an act of self-respect and self-preservation. Clearly state your limits and emphasize how essential they are for your growth and well-being. You do not need to argue, justify, or over-explain your boundaries to anyone. If those boundaries are ignored or mocked, you are allowed to end the conversation and leave the situation entirely. Silence and distance can be powerful tools when words are no longer respected. By refusing to submit to their demands, you force them to confront the consequences of their behavior. This realization can be deeply uncomfortable, especially for someone who believes they are entitled to control others. Always remember that no one deserves abuse, manipulation, or repeated disrespect. If you've endured these experiences, protecting your hope and seeking healthier options is not weakness, it is wisdom. By using these empowering approaches, you reclaim your voice, your autonomy, and your sense of self. The true victory is not watching them suffer, but knowing they no longer have access to you. Take charge of your life and place your well-being above everything else. Do not allow them to re-enter your world and cause further harm. Your peace, growth, and future are far more valuable than their approval ever was. Dealing with a narcissist is an experience that can leave deep emotional scars, but understanding their behavior and learning how to protect yourself is key to regaining control over your life. Narcissists thrive on manipulation, attention, and control, often using charm, guilt, or subtle aggression to maintain power over others. Their actions are rarely about genuine connection. They are about ensuring their needs and desires are always prioritized, often at the expense of those around them. Learning to recognize patterns of narcissistic behavior, such as gaslighting, constant criticism, emotional withdrawal, or feigned victimhood, can help you anticipate their tactics and respond in ways that safeguard your mental and emotional health. A central part of managing interactions with a narcissist is developing emotional independence. Narcissists feed on emotional reactions, whether it's guilt, anger, or fear. By maintaining calm, staying grounded, and not reacting impulsively, you remove the tools they rely on to influence and manipulate you. Emotional boundaries are vital. Knowing what you will and will not accept prevents them from overstepping and keeps you in control of your own life. Over time, as you strengthen your confidence, the narcissist's attempts to belittle or manipulate you lose effectiveness, leaving them frustrated and often forcing them to confront their own behavior in ways that are uncomfortable for them. Self-care is another crucial strategy, not just physically, but emotionally and mentally as well. Focusing on your own growth, interests, and well-being allows you to build a life that is fulfilling independently of anyone else's approval or validation. Engaging in activities that bring joy, nurturing relationships with supportive friends and family, and taking time for reflection and rest all reinforce your sense of self-worth. This not only helps you heal from past experiences, but also signals to the narcissist that their control is limited. When they see you thriving and confident without their interference, it can create a profound sense of regret and reflection on their part. Another subtle but powerful approach is managing communication carefully. When interacting with a narcissist, it's important to avoid giving them unnecessary praise or validation, as this reinforces their inflated self-image. At the same time, assertiveness becomes essential. Refusing to apologize for things you did not do or standing firm against unreasonable demands teaches them that you cannot be easily manipulated. Silence and distance are often more effective than confrontation because they remove the narcissist's ability to provoke emotional reactions. When they realize their usual tactics are no longer effective, they are forced to face the consequences of their behavior without the distraction of your participation. Ultimately, the goal is not revenge, but empowerment. Reclaiming your life, setting healthy boundaries, and focusing on your own happiness demonstrates to the narcissist, and more importantly to yourself, that you are no longer subject to their control. Every small step you take toward independence, confidence, and emotional resilience chips away at their influence. Healing from narcissistic abuse is a journey, often requiring patience and self-compassion, but it is also deeply transformative. Over time, the combination of self-respect, personal growth, and emotional strength ensures that you can move forward free from manipulation, while the narcissist is left to confront the reality that they no longer hold power over you. Living in the aftermath of narcissistic behavior often feels confusing and disorienting at first, but the recovery process is about reclaiming your sense of self and building a life that reflects your true value. Narcissists are skilled at creating emotional dependence, making you doubt your perceptions and self-worth, but recognizing that this was never a reflection of your true abilities or character is liberating. Each step you take to prioritize your needs, make independent choices, and surround yourself with genuine support reinforces the message to both yourself and the narcissist that you are no longer a source of control or entertainment for them. This shift in perspective transforms fear and insecurity into empowerment and clarity. Part of this empowerment comes from understanding that boundaries are non-negotiable. Narcissists test limits constantly, using charm, guilt, or pressure to see how far they can push. By clearly defining your personal space, emotional limits, and ethical boundaries, you assert control over your own life. Maintaining consistency is key. Any lapse can be interpreted as weakness or an invitation to resume manipulation. Boundaries are not just defensive, they are a form of self-respect. They communicate that you value your own well-being above external approval, and they force the narcissist to confront the reality that they cannot bend you to their will. Over time, this creates a dramatic shift in the dynamic, leaving them increasingly frustrated. Another critical element is cultivating emotional resilience. Narcissists thrive on reactions. They want you to feel guilty, angry, or insecure. By developing the ability to recognize their tactics without internalizing them, you reduce their influence. Techniques like mindfulness, reflection, journaling, or talking with trusted confidants can help you process emotions safely while maintaining composure. Emotional resilience doesn't mean you suppress your feelings. It means you control how you respond to external provocations, refusing to let their manipulation dictate your inner state. Each time you respond with calm, clarity, and confidence, you reclaim a piece of the autonomy they sought to take from you, making it increasingly difficult for them to destabilize your life. Building your life around meaningful relationships and experiences is equally transformative. Narcissists often isolate their targets to maintain control, so reconnecting with supportive friends and family, or finding communities that share your values, reinstates a sense of balance and connection. Positive social interactions reinforce your self-worth and provide perspective, reminding you that not everyone seeks to manipulate or dominate you. Investing time in hobbies, personal goals, and achievements that bring fulfillment independently of anyone else's approval further strengthens your sense of identity. The more complete your life becomes, the less space there is for a narcissist to intrude, and the more they are forced to confront the consequences of the harm they caused. Finally, forgiveness and letting go play a subtle but profound role in long-term recovery. This is not about excusing their behavior or minimizing the pain they caused, but about freeing yourself from carrying the weight of anger, resentment, and obsession. By releasing the emotional grip they once had, you reclaim mental space and energy for your growth. Every choice to prioritize your well-being, reinforce boundaries, and live authentically chips away at their power. The end result is not just making them feel regret, but creating a life where their presence or absence no longer defines your happiness. It is through this sustained focus on self-respect, resilience, and empowerment that true liberation is achieved. The journey of overcoming narcissistic abuse is ongoing, and the longer you commit to reclaiming your life, the more powerful you become. One of the most profound realizations you can have is that a narcissist's behavior is a reflection of their own insecurities and unmet needs, not of your value. Understanding this helps remove the personal sting from their words and actions, allowing you to observe without internalizing. When you stop reacting emotionally to their provocations, you create an environment where their usual manipulations fail. This lack of control frustrates them deeply, as their power depends on eliciting predictable responses. Your calm, assertive presence becomes a quiet but formidable form of resistance. Another important aspect is building long-term strategies for self-empowerment. Beyond immediate reactions, consider the ways you can structure your life to minimize their influence permanently. This may include changing routines, reducing contact, or even legally protecting your space and resources if necessary. By proactively designing boundaries and habits that prioritize your emotional and physical safety, you prevent them from reasserting control. Meanwhile, investing in personal growth, whether through education, career development, or skill building, strengthens your independence and self-confidence. Each accomplishment, no matter how small, serves as a reminder that your life is yours to shape, free from manipulation or coercion. It is equally important to nurture your inner world through self-reflection and emotional awareness. Journaling, meditation, or therapy can help you unpack the complex feelings left behind by a narcissist's actions. By understanding your triggers, patterns, and emotional responses, you gain insight into how to protect yourself in future interactions. This internal work makes you less susceptible to repeated cycles of abuse and strengthens your ability to maintain perspective even under pressure. When you combine this self-awareness with assertive action in the real world, you create a balance between thought and behavior that makes you resilient, grounded, and increasingly untouchable by their games. Forging healthy, supportive relationships is another cornerstone of recovery and empowerment. Narcissists often isolate their targets to maintain control, so rebuilding social connections restores balance and perspective. Surround yourself with people who are trustworthy, empathetic, and encouraging. These relationships remind you that healthy interactions exist and reinforce your self-worth. Positive connections also serve as a buffer against any lingering self-doubt, helping you maintain clarity when faced with manipulation or lingering emotional residue from the past. Sharing your experiences with understanding friends or mentors not only provides support, but also validates your reality, which narcissists often try to distort. Finally, envision a life centered on your own values, ambitions, and happiness. The ultimate measure of making a narcissist regret their actions is not revenge. It is living a fulfilled, authentic life without them. Every choice you make to prioritize your well-being, set boundaries, and pursue your goals is a reminder that their control no longer holds power over you. Over time, this consistent, empowered approach sends a clear message: you have reclaimed your life, and their attempts to dominate or manipulate are irrelevant. The liberation that comes from this realization is profound, offering peace, self-respect, and the confidence to face the world on your terms, completely free from their shadow. The longer you distance yourself from a narcissist, the more you begin to see the full scope of their behavior and its impact on your life. This clarity allows you to take back control over your decisions, emotions, and priorities. One of the most important things you can do is consistently reinforce your independence. This doesn't just mean physical distance, it also means emotional and mental boundaries. Refuse to engage in arguments that lead nowhere, don't get pulled into manipulative conversations, and avoid obsessing over their opinions or actions. Every time you redirect your focus toward your own growth, goals, and happiness, you reclaim a piece of the power they once held over you. Healing also involves acknowledging and validating your own feelings. Narcissists often make you doubt your experiences, leaving you second-guessing your reactions and emotions. Give yourself permission to feel anger, sadness, or frustration without judgment. These emotions are natural responses to being manipulated or hurt, and allowing yourself to process them is essential for recovery. Journaling, talking to trusted friends, or seeking therapy can help you untangle complex emotions and gain perspective. By recognizing your own experiences as valid, you strengthen your self-esteem and build an inner resilience that is far more difficult for a narcissist to undermine. Another crucial step in moving forward is learning to trust your instincts again. Narcissists often erode your confidence in your judgment, making it difficult to trust your own decisions. Rebuilding this trust requires practice and conscious effort. Start with small, everyday choices and observe the positive outcomes when you rely on your intuition. Over time, you'll notice a renewed confidence in your ability to navigate life without outside validation or manipulation. This internal shift reduces the narcissist's influence over your thoughts and reactions, forcing them to realize that their ability to control or intimidate you has dramatically diminished. Part of regaining your power is also creating a life filled with meaning and purpose. Narcissists attempt to center the world around themselves, leaving little room for your ambitions. By actively pursuing goals, hobbies, and passions that are uniquely yours, you establish an identity independent of their influence. This could include creative pursuits, career development, travel, volunteering, or learning new skills. The more fulfilled and engaged you are in your own life, the less space there is for them to affect you. Your growth and happiness become a silent but powerful statement that they no longer hold sway over your life, making their past actions feel increasingly empty and regrettable.